Hello everyone out there, how are you guys doing? Welcome as always back to Rule of Two Review, and today we're going to talk about everyone's favorite series, Call of Duty. So it's been pretty big news this week that Activision officially revealed that the brand new Call of Duty title, A, has a title, and B, is going to be revealed in just a couple of days, April 26th, 2017. Of course, the title is Call of Duty World War II. Pretty blatant, pretty straightforward, no beating around the bush. There's really no questions we have about what this game is going to be about and what Activision is really trying to do with it. Now, given the fact that I am a huge Nintendo fan and primarily a Nintendo gamer despite owning all of the consoles and enjoying them and a gaming PC, I definitely find it very interesting now that we have this brand new Nintendo Switch on the market. So many people are loving it. I'm loving it. I always like to remind you guys when these topics come up of those facts. And now we have this brand new Call of Duty coming out. What's happening with Call of Duty, Activision, Nintendo, the Nintendo Switch? Does this all make sense for these entities to come together? Are we going to see Call of Duty World War II on the Nintendo Switch? Should we see it? Should we not? If it doesn't come, what does it mean? All of these different things is kind of what I wanted to sort of riff on for you guys in today's video. Now, it should be noted, and I know that this could be a kind of a controversial video, especially for Nintendo fans who typically follow my channel, but I'll tell you guys right now, I enjoy Call of Duty. I enjoy it actually quite a bit. I will say that the most recent one, I don't even know what it was called, Space Warfighter, the one that just came out that was really controversial, that had the remaster of Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare with it. God, what was that title called? Infinite Warfare, there we go. I knew it was somewhere in there. And so Infinite Warfare, of course, just came out. I did not play it. It's the first Call of Duty title in quite a while I didn't play. The main reason, it wasn't so much that it didn't look good, because I thought it looked fine. I know people were like super down on it. I was like, you know, it looks like whatever. I didn't really care. I would have picked it up. However, the frickin' install size was so goddamn massive, like 130 gigs or something ridiculous. I barely have room for a 20 gig game on my damned PS4 and Xbox One, and it drives me insane on a daily basis. So I was like, I'm not even going to worry about that. I'm not buying a hard drive just to play one average-looking Call of Duty game. And I'm not going to clear a bunch of space off of I'd have to clear like half of my space off of my consoles. I just wasn't going to go anywhere near that. But despite me missing Infinite Warfare, I do really enjoy Call of Duty for the straightforward obviousness of what it is. It doesn't pretend to be anything else than just a really polished, you know, multiplayer-focused military shooter experience. And I like earning experience points and leveling up my guns and all these different things, and I love the gameplay and the combat of Call of Duty. The campaigns haven't been very interesting in a long time, but I enjoy this series. And so when we think about this World War II game, I'm excited to see what it's going to be like, because I have enjoyed most of the Call of Duties I've played the last 6 or 7 or so years since that first Modern Warfare. I really have. And I've even enjoyed a lot of them on my Nintendo consoles. So we have World War II coming out. I'm curious about it. I think it could be very interesting. I'm excited to see what it's going to be like for Activision to listen to the fans and go back to the old school style of combat in an older war. World War II, which was the big hot thing a couple of years ago, and Call of Duty really started to make its name and bread and butter on the World War II thing after Modern Warfare's 1 and 2 were a big hit, and even before so, I think, if I'm not mistaken. And so that's great. So I'm really curious to see what the game is going to be like. But the real question is, bringing it back to the Nintendo thing, the Switch is on the market, and I spent my last video talking to you guys for like 17 minutes about the third-party situation in regards to what third-party content could actually run on the Nintendo Switch. Was the Nintendo Switch designed to be able to play a lot of these really impressive-looking games that we know are sort of designed for the more powerful competition systems, which are the Xbox One and the PS4. So I definitely recommend you check that out. I'm going to, of course, have it linked at the end of this video, so please watch that. But when we think about Call of Duty as an important franchise in the gaming industry, is it going to come to the Switch, and could it come to the Switch? That's what I really want to talk about here. So here's the thing, you guys. I'm going to lay it right out for you. I do think it's very important for Call of Duty World War II to come to the Nintendo Switch. Not because I enjoy Call of Duty. I will absolutely tell you with 100% confidence, if I didn't like Call of Duty, or if I even just despised it, which I know a lot of people out there do, which is totally totally fine. I don't really care if you like it or not. Let's say that I hated Call of Duty, I would still think, and I would still sit here and tell you right now, that it is very important for Call of Duty World War II to come to the Nintendo Switch. And I think we all know why, because of the market that that game appeals to. I think that a lot of what the Call of Duty audience is and has become over the last couple of years is a lot of what Nintendo is trying to target and wants to target and bring back into the fold of Nintendo gaming. I think that Nintendo wants to take a lot of those kind of younger, what some people like to call the bro dude kind of people, which is kind of a not fair comparison to make, but you know, it is what it is. A lot of those kinds of gamers and people who enjoy that kind of content, that speaks to a very large market in the gaming world right now. Really, like, there's a huge amount of people, millions upon millions, that go for that kind of gameplay experience. And I think that one of the many things Nintendo is trying to do with the Switch, one of the many things, you guys, not the only thing, is to try to attract those kind of gamers back to Nintendo, because for a long time, a lot of those gamers, maybe just like you or I, grew up with Nintendo. And then a lot of people started to fade away from Nintendo during the GameCube and the Wii era. They didn't feel like Nintendo was offering them the kind of experiences that they wanted. Microsoft and Sony started to really appeal to some of the more mature, grittier, the brown blood shooters kind of experience, and even some of the sports simulation experience that a lot of those gamers started to grow up and really enjoy. And to be fair, again, I like a lot of brown bloody shooters as well. I mix them in with all my Nintendo content, of course, so it makes it much easier for me to swallow those kinds of experiences, but I do enjoy them. And like I said, there's millions of people that enjoy them, and Nintendo wants those people back. And so Call of Duty World War II, I think, is very important to have on the Nintendo Switch. Here's the other tricky part to this discussion, though, you guys, is I'm starting to kind of feel like this game maybe won't be coming to the Nintendo Switch. And that's a very hard thing for me to kind of discuss and realize and kind of admit out loud to you guys, because I've been saying for a long time, I think that the Nintendo Switch does represent a change for Nintendo, where they're trying harder than ever. They've said this for a long time and haven't delivered, but I do believe they're actually trying hard right now with the Switch to court these third-party developers and a lot of their huge multi-platform games back over to Nintendo's consoles with the Nintendo Switch. I think Nintendo wants these kinds of games to be on the Switch. And I like seeing Nintendo push so hard to do this. At least what I believe is them pushing really hard to do this. I think that it's very smart. And I think that we're going to see a lot of this stuff start to come to the Switch. And again, in my last video, I talked to you guys for a long time about what I think is happening there, what could and couldn't happen maybe on the Switch when it comes to power. But when it comes to World War II, I kind of have this feeling that despite Nintendo's best efforts right now, that Activision is probably not planning on releasing this game for the Switch. I could be wrong, and I hope I'm wrong, but I do expect in a couple of days on the 26th, when this game is revealed, that we're not going to see a Nintendo Switch logo at the end of that trailer. We're going to see all the PC and Xbox and PlayStation stuff. We're not going to see Nintendo anywhere on it. I just don't think. The possibility does exist, if I'm wrong here and this game is coming to the Switch, the possibility exists that maybe Nintendo announces it later, either at a Nintendo Direct or at E3, and that would be really great. I do think it's possible that this game comes to the Switch, but I think that maybe Activision isn't quite yet ready to commit to the Switch with this title. I think that would be a shame and a missed opportunity for Activision and for Nintendo, but I do think that that's probably the case. What might be happening is Activision is thinking, okay, the Switch is obviously great and obviously a hit, and we're supporting it with other titles like Skylanders, and, you know, Activision was featured on the infographic. I think that Activision does have that attitude, but they're probably like, while the Switch is new and only a couple of million units are going to have been sold by the time this game comes out, let's wait till the next Call of Duty. Let's wait till 2018's Call of Duty, and if the Switch continues its momentum and continues its sales, and instead of having 4 or 5 million units on, you know, in people's homes by November this year, maybe it's going to have 15 million units by November next year. And then it's going to make a lot more sense monetarily for Activision to want to release Call of Duty, the next one, on the Nintendo Switch. And I can see that playing out, and I can see that happening. I think it would be a shame and a missed opportunity, like I said, but I would sort of understand Activision's logic if that's what happens, so that, I guess, would be totally fine. But I do think it would make such a great and powerful statement to have this very first Call of Duty after the launch of the Switch release on the Nintendo Switch. And if, by some miracle, in 2 days, we see a Nintendo Switch logo at the end of that Call of Duty World War II trailer, whatever it is they're going to show us, that would be incredible, you guys. That would actually be really freaking cool and very, very exciting. And it would bring these gamers over to Nintendo, potentially, or at least it would put Nintendo on the map of a lot of these gamers, I think is what would happen. A lot of us who currently own Switches would probably pick it up. I know that I would pick it up for the Switch for sure, because I'd like to play with my friends. I would like to see what this game would be like on the Switch and see what they could achieve with it. I would love to have a portable handheld version of a console Call of Duty. Activision, that's the big selling point for you to start doing stuff like this, and all these developers, you're giving gamers portable versions of these games, and we will buy that. People will support these games simply because of that aspect, and especially if Nintendo nails the online network and the online infrastructure, and that really is something worthwhile to people, even better. That's going to make a game that's so online focused like a Call of Duty or a Destiny or whatever, even better and worthwhile to Nintendo gamers. Now, the last part of this conversation, the thing that I know some people would talk about, and for the third time I'm going to have to reference my last video, is whether or not Call of Duty could run on the Switch. I'm sure that there will be people out there saying, oh, this game isn't going to be able to run on the Switch. And you know what? Again, if you haven't watched that last video, or if you're not going to watch that last video where I talk about it, all I'm going to tell you is I simply don't believe that. I absolutely acknowledge the Switch is not as powerful as the Xbox One and PS4. It's not that we're delusional here and we think that the system is more powerful than the competition. It's not. Nintendo made this system less powerful for many reasons, including saving money. But I absolutely believe that there is a way to make the vast majority of these, multi-platform games that are coming to PS4, Xbox One, and PC work and run on the Nintendo Switch. Someone even brought this up in my last video. People can play games like Overwatch on PCs that are literally less capable than what the Switch probably is, that have very outdated components in it, but the game can still run. All you have to do is downgrade the visuals on your PC. I absolutely feel that a lot of these companies, Activision included with Call of Duty, could make a version that still looks really impressive run on the Nintendo Switch. And one of the main reasons why, let's think about this from Nintendo's perspective for a minute, you guys. Do we really believe that in a world where Nintendo makes a brand new system to dig themselves out of the hole of the Wii U, to be attractive and appealing to third-party developers to want to bring their games over so Nintendo can make these third-party games available to their gamers, do we believe we live in a world where Nintendo made a machine that couldn't run the biggest franchise in gaming, and love it or hate it, and even with the slipping sales, at the end of the day, it is undeniable Call of Duty still is, for the time being, the biggest and best-selling franchise in the gaming industry. And I don't think that Nintendo, with all the work and effort they're putting into trying to court these gamers and these developers back to their side, would make a system that can't run Call of freaking Duty. I just don't think that that's the case. Is it underpowered compared to the competition? Yes. But is there probably a way, based on the architecture inside of the machine, to make a lot of games work on this machine? Absolutely. And I guarantee you guys that Nintendo considered Call of Duty, that franchise specifically, among probably many others, when developing the Switch. I don't think that Nintendo carved a little box, a little corner out in the industry where they sit in this corner without the ability to play Call of Duty. I just don't believe that. And you know what? Maybe I get proven wrong. Maybe Call of Duty never comes, or maybe Activision reveals to us in a couple of years that no Call of Duty game ever could have run on the Switch, and so maybe I turn out to be wrong. And you know what? If that's the way it is, fine. I don't really care if I'm wrong, but I do happen to believe that I'm right. I think Nintendo absolutely made sure that Call of Duty could run on this. Talk to Activision. I think that Activision knows that they could make a very comparable and impressive running version of Call of Duty World War II or any Call of Duty on the Switch. I think that it could happen. And so that's why at the end of the day, in wrapping this video up, I think that there's a 30-35% chance we see World War II show up on the Switch in the next couple of months. We're going to get the announcement maybe this week, maybe in a couple of months. 30 to 35% chance. More than likely it's not coming. But I think that there's a very good chance we see at least next year's Call of Duty show up. If we get the surprise that Call of Duty World War II is coming in a couple of days, awesome. I guess we'll just have to see how that works out. But you know what? I think Nintendo made sure that Call of Duty and other series like it could come to and run on the Nintendo Switch. That's my personal feeling and theory, but like I usually like to say, I feel pretty damn good about that theory and that feeling. So that's it for today, guys. What do you think about the World War II thing? Are you excited for the game? Are you not? Do you think it could come to the Switch? Do you think that it never will come to the Switch? Maybe you don't even care. Talk about your feelings about Call of Duty World War II. World War II the game, not the World War, and the Nintendo Switch below. Thanks as always for tuning in, guys. This is Robert for Loop 2 Review, and I will catch you as always next time on another video.